This video is not a clickbait, and I'll show you something that will blow your mind. As you know, it's impossible to build inside the monuments or even close to them in Rust. That's because all red towns have an invisible area where you can build anything, and I thought this applies to all red towns. All except the lighthouse. How did I find that? Well, I was scrolling on YouTube and find this. And to be honest, I didn't even believe it was possible. So I had to test it out on the official server. But first I decided to go to the building server to add some details if this method works. And the result just shocked me. So with that said, let's get to the point. Here's the lighthouse, a low-tier monument with recycler, green card and very small amount of loot. It's popular among the nakeds and all players who are farming the water and oil rigs, cause here they can recycle unnecessary loot in relative safety, but beyond that, lighthouse have a secret spot where you can build a tiny base. And to find this spot, you have to start at the main entrance from the steps. Here you have to turn left and run until you see the broken fence. Then you need to run a little further until you see the second fence. Here it is. It will be hard to miss, cause it's larger than the first one. From below you'll see two cliffs. Between them is the secret place where you can build. Here's how it works. You need to find that little spot where you can place the foundation. Unfortunately, there's limited space, so I can suggest you only two base layouts. The first consists of a square and two triangles on the sides, but I don't think it's the best choice. You can build a honeycombs around, but walls, windows, door frames can be placed without any problems. And here's an example how you can make a comfy base by using this layout. First, place a square with two triangles and add a single door frame in the middle. And close your main core with the walls. Place two wall frames on the sides and add double doors to make an airlock. That's the only way how you can secure the entrance. On the right side, place a TC and cover it with the ceilings. On the left side, make a jump up to the second floor by using a furnace. Make sure not to use the shelf as a jump up. This is very important and I'll explain why a little later. Cover the exit with walls, and on the second floor you can place the ceilings on the opposite side of the lighthouse to add some extra space for your base. However, keep an eye on stability, because it will only be enough for one more floor. Unfortunately, you can't put ceilings on the lighthouse side. Next, fill the inside to your preference. I'll just show you an example how you can use this space. On the sides, you can make two loot rooms and place a workbench in the middle. Continue to add floors as needed while keeping stability in mind. A little spoiler, if you build as high as possible, you can completely control the recycler from your roof, but it takes a lot of resources to do that. Now I'll explain you why you don't need to place shelves inside the base. As you can see, it's impossible to soft-side the ceiling from below, at least if you're playing alone. But if you place a shelf inside the base instead of a furnace, then you can easily build on the outside and break the ceiling. That's why I don't like this layout. Now I'll show you a second layout, which I like much better, because it gives you more space. Place a single doorway in the middle and add a second one here to create an airlock. And close your main core with the walls and cover it with ceilings. Place a furnace to create a jump up in the left corner and place a doors. Build one more door frame here to make additional airlock. In the right corner, place a TC and cover it with a double door or glass window. Next, go to the second floor and cover it with the walls. Build ceilings except this place. place a furnace here and build the wall frames everywhere. You can use this space to create a loot room with large boxes on the floor, or place any other deployables that you might need. On the third floor, repeat the same steps. Build the walls around, cover it with ceilings, and make a jump up. As soon as you finish the third floor, break your TC and move it to the top floor. For example, place it right here. It's a necessary action that will help you in the future. If you get raided with rockets, 99% of the time the first two floors will be the first to go. And if you leave your TC on the first floor, you will immediately lose the base. So it's much safer to leave it on the top floor. And make sure to hide it behind the doors. Here is the best base design that I was able to make, considering I only had 5 triangles. Behind the main door we have our first airlock. On the left, located a small room with furnaces and a small box. On the right, place 2 sleeping bags and a jump up. On the second floor, you will have 3 large and 4 small boxes. On the third floor, place a TC and more large boxes. On the next floor, you will have a workbench with more storage. And finally, a shooting floor with a view right on the lighthouse, which will give you complete control of the entrance, because the only way you can get to the recycler is to use the stairs. There is no more places to jump up to get inside, so by controlling these stairs, you'll have complete control of the lighthouse. And also, you'll have a roof access for an even better view. On top of that, you can build a few more floors. In that case, you'll be able to see the recycler. You'll have to spend a lot of resources, but it's worth it, because now it's impossible to hide from you while recycling. Or you can place a turret on one of the floors that will face the lighthouse. In that case, you will get loot automatically until you get raided. But I still have a question, if it's possible to replicate this on the official server. So with all this knowledge, I joined the official server to see if this method works here. And luckily, I spawned it right in front of the lighthouse, so I immediately swam to it. Then I got some wood and crafted a building plan. And finally, I get to the spot, right below the broken fence. And here's the main moment. Yes, this is possible even on the official server, so be sure to use this method before it gets fixed. And if you want to learn something new about this game, here's 25 advanced Rust tips and tricks that will bring your building skills to the max level.